is up, y'all? First and foremost, I want to start off by saying I am extremely grateful to be on the stage. Dude, I'm extremely grateful to be on the stage with you. I want to say thank you to all of the staff, corporate staff, everyone at FFL, Grady, Andrew, Sean, for taking the time to put this event on for free. Like, there's over 2,000 people here, and once again, this is for free, so there's massive value. I want to start off by asking a transparent question. If you came into the life insurance industry and you were broke when you got into this industry, will you please stand up? This is also me standing up. So what I'm going to talk about is to this demographic today because I really, really relate to it. And you guys can totally sit down, but thank you for being honest and standing up. So I can only speak for myself, but Jay, you were broke too when you got in the industry, right?
Absolutely. Yes, I was broke.
He was broke. So when I got into the industry, I was not on a winning streak, and I started Family First Life, and I had $231 in my bank account, right? And I bring that up because I think there's massive value in honesty. And also, like, if you're brand new and you're in a tricky position right now, it could be a matter of months or a couple years where you end up on the stage and end up in a position like Jay Maska, right? And I've had the blessing and pleasure of watching Jay transform his life while I'm transforming mine through the entire process. So the main thing that I want you guys to hear and take away from this is you might be brand new, you might be broke, you might be scared, you might be in a horrible financial or life situation. It is temporary. It is extremely temporary. So with training agents from 0 to 20K a month, I can be somewhat of a pro in it because I came here at 0, right? So I think some of the biggest things for this, when I connect with people and I hire new people, what is your why, right? Mindset, skill set, habits. What is your why? Why do you want to make money? Why do you want to be successful? What is the reason that you are willing to work 10, 12, 15 hours a day if it takes that? When you're scaling people up, it's different. I wish I had a solution for every single person, but it's different for every person based off where they're at financially, right? You come across guys like me that were super broke, and I had to be really creative. I had to tap into my warm market and my referrals, and I had to stare at my bank account and be like, okay, my name's Christo Bolger. I'm super broke right now. I got to get creative. I got to bring some tenacity in my business so that I can get enough income to buy quality leads and have the lead flow to be able to make more money. So if people are coming in and broke, they don't have money, I'm teeing it up based off the overview call of if you do not have money, that is okay, but you need to be creative and you need to be where your feet are at right now because it is super temporary. And if you can tee up 3, 4, 5 sales and make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 when you start, your bills are paid, your leads are paid for, and you also set some money aside, right? So first and foremost, that's what I train people on, but I think the other stuff, to give you guys some metrics, is people will make fun of me for this, but I have metrics that I have people hit. You're shooting for 2 dial sessions a day. You are either hitting 300 dials per dial session or 3 presentations or a sale. I'm not saying everyone needs to have 300 dials, 3 presentations, and a sale every dial session. But if you have one, I know you're working. If you end the day and it's your second dial session, how many of you guys have heard people be like, I'm going to be the best sales rep ever. I'm going to work the hardest you've ever seen, over and over and over again. Like cocky, arrogant. I want to work with the people that don't say anything and consistently show up. And when they do not have the results that they want at the end of the day, guess what they do? They run a 3rd dial session. And they apply the pressure until they get the results that they want and desire because they're tapped into their why. I want to say this before I pass it off to Jay. This business and this opportunity, every time I get on stage, it makes me almost want to cry because it's changed my life in ways I do not know how to communicate. Financial is obvious, but like my brother's sitting in here. Him and I are both clean and sober. He just wrote $50,000 last month. I have the world's most beautiful girl sitting in the crowd waiting. And then I have my mom that flew down here just to watch us speak. And so this business is an absolute blessing. do not give up before the miracle, and work your you-know-what off. Pass it on.
I love that, guys. Round of applause for Christo. Before I get started, I wanted to ask, who's grateful to be here? I'm absolutely grateful to be standing by Christo, because Christo, actually, we started together, basically. I mean, I think you started a month before me or a month after me, one of the two. And I got to see his work ethic when he started, because when you get on stage, everybody just sees where you're at now, but they don't know where you were. So I remember seeing Christo working 12, 14, 15 hours a day. We were dialing age leads together, just trying to make it work. And I remember calling him for like 10 minutes, and we would just bounce ideas off of each other, communicate. I'd ask him about marketing, stuff like that. So one, I want to say I'm grateful to talk to Christo. But to dive into it, my biggest thing to get agents from $0 to $20,000 a month is I do a 30-minute sales training with them, and then they're on the phones and they have leads. They don't need to know every single product. My biggest thing is if you fail fast, you learn fast, you make money fast. If you fail slow, you learn slow, you make money slow. So if you're not failing fast, you're not learning fast, and you're not making money fast. I think the biggest downfall to most agents, they overcomplicate the business. Whole life lasts forever, term doesn't, and you know how to sell life insurance. So my thing, though, with agents is I get them leads, but my biggest thing is training them on mindset. Because at the end of the day, we can give you the blueprint, but if you don't develop and change your mindset, the blueprint won't work. Especially if you're coming over from a 9-to-5 job, you never work for yourself. So my biggest thing is whether that's getting them in the gym, getting them in the office early, watching development podcasts, watching podcasts about having a long-term vision, asking the agent, what is your vision? What do you want out of the opportunity? How can I help you to get where you want to go? Because at the end of the day, if you do not change your mindset and develop your mindset, develop your habits, be consistent, be disciplined, the blueprint isn't going to work. If you're not willing to change, a blueprint won't work. If you're in a relationship and you're not willing to change, a relationship's not going to work. So if you want to get into this opportunity and you want to write $20,000 a month, you have to develop your mindset. I remember Christo and I, we would be dialing for 12, 14 hours a day. And that's what we had to do. And a lot of people are trying to find the shortcut of how can I dial 4 hours a day? Like anybody see those ads, like I have an AI chatbot 3000, you shouldn't dial 8 hours a day. I'll show you how to dial 2 hours a day and make 30 grand a month. I've seen those every single day. They're the biggest scams in the world. The biggest thing you have to have is the mindset to work 12, 14 hours a day. Somebody said earlier is if you quit your 9-to-5, raise your hand, great, now you're working in 9-to-9. That is absolutely true. In the beginning, as a new agent, you have to develop your mindset and get so dialed in on your work ethic. That is the only way you're going to be able to scale, grow, sell, develop, lead other people. Because when you first start and you get into life insurance, you're changing yourself. You're getting rid of your old self and you're building a new version of yourself. So while you're building the new version of yourself, now you're learning how to sell. So I think that's the biggest thing people need to realize is first you're learning how to sell, first you're learning how to develop your mindset and developing and changing who you are. Now you have to learn the sales process. Now you have to learn leadership. I always tell people your first 6 months is going to be absolutely miserable because it's going to be a mind game. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to doubt whether the business works. You're going to doubt whether your mentorship works. You're going to doubt whether the guidance works. You're going to doubt whether the leads work. But the one thing you have to be dialed in on is your mindset. Because once you develop your mindset to become bulletproof from what's attacking on the inside, now you can develop your mindset to be bulletproof from what's attacking you on the inside. Because there's always outside noise attacking you. And everybody they're really good at blocking out of the outside noise, but they're bad at blocking out the inside noise. The self-doubt, having lack of confidence, having the lack of confidence, and they have that self-doubt. So when you develop your mindset, you're developing your mindset to go from I can't do this to I can do this. A trick I learned when I was dialing leads, and people that have trained with me, they would know this, is I would sit by somebody, I would say, hey, I'm going to close the next person. The next person would tell me to screw off. I'd say, hey, I'm going to close the next person. I'm not interested. They hang up. And I'd say, hey, I'm going to close the next person, and then they would hang up on me. Then I would get to the 201st person, and I'd say, hey, the next person's going to buy life insurance, and they'd buy life insurance. I'd be like, hey, I told you so. But what they didn't realize is I forgot 200 leads ago that people hung up on me. And I was like, hey, I told you they'd buy life insurance, even though I said that 200 told you ago. So like my mindset was just so bulletproof. Hey, the next lead's going to be a sale. The next lead I'm going to help. The next family I'm going to protect. The next family they're going to be in my contacts. I'm going to call them on a Sunday and ask them how they're doing because my mindset was so dialed in on making the opportunity work, helping a family, getting paid so I can invest back into the business, and showing agents how to do it. If you're in leadership, I remember in Nebraska when I opened my first office at 20, 21 years old. When I opened the office, I had 16 cubicles in a massive room. I got a chair from Walmart and a desk from Walmart, and I put it in the middle of the cubicles. And I dialed the same leads that my agents were dialing. They heard my word check. They heard my objections. They heard my tonality. They heard how I handled situations. They knew, and they heard me fail, most importantly, because when you're developing somebody, you get them into the business, they look at you like this. Like, I graduated high school with a 1.8 GPA and a 14 on my ACT. For some reason, people look at me like this. I'm like, dude, I'm not smart, I promise. I just know how to communicate and talk, and I developed my mindset to be absolutely bulletproof. But in leadership, you have to focus on dialing in front of your agents. Because when you buy the same leads as them, you make sales off those same leads, you make money in front of them, they see you get your butt kicked off the same leads, they know the opportunity works because they see you making the opportunity work. If you're in leadership and you're buying leads, or you're not buying leads, you're not dialing, and you're telling agents, hey, go buy these leads, go dial, and you're not doing it, they're not gonna have confidence in the business. Because in leadership, to get an agent from 0 to 20, they do what you do. So you have to develop yourself to be so disciplined and so consistent so agents can follow you and do what you do. Because if you do something inconsistent, they're going to do something inconsistent. If you have consistent lead flow, you have consistent cash flow. If you have inconsistent lead flow, you have inconsistent cash flow. But guys, that's all I have. Christo, I'm blessed to be up here with you guys. Guys, make the most out of it. Take all the notes in the world.
Appreciate y'all.